Welcome back to the Ross Bolin podcast presented by Bolin Media. I am Ross Bolin here today with producer Kade Orris, also known as Content Kade, also known as Stripper Kade. Kade, what is good, player?
Oh, everything's good right now, Ross. And I just gotta say, it is currently 96 degrees here in Austin, and we could not be dressed more differently right now.
Yeah, you're wearing a Ball State hoodie with the hood up and sweatpants.
Yep.
And I'm wearing a paper-thin tank top and some shorts.
Exactly. Yeah. No, still going strong with the winter wear.
You're ridiculous.
I know.
You're ridiculous. Tomorrow is producer Kade's birthday, so everyone holler at him on social media at Kade Orris, Kade with a K-O-R-R-I-S, and tell him happy birthday. Speaking of birthdays, happy belated birthday to the giant purple monster known as Grimace at McDonald's. For those of you who are blessed enough to not know about the Grimace Shake trend, you're in for a real treat today, no pun intended. I'm going to read you a bit from a column in the Washington Post about the Grimace Shake to fill you in. And also, Kade and I both got Grimace Shakes for lunch, which we are holding right now. I'm kind of scared to drink mine because theoretically the episode could end right there. I would die.
That is true, yeah. But it is after his birthday, so I think we're okay, right?
We give it a little sip and see. Have you tried it yet?
I haven't tried it yet.
This is not sponsored, by the way. This is just
absolutely not.
This is we're going to teach y'all about a trend on social media here. Give it a taste. That's definitely different. I mean,
does it taste like vanilla or? Actually, I'm getting a little hint of berry in there.
It's like the aftertaste is mostly vanilla.
Yeah,
but you get a berry blast up front.
just a blast of berry.
Just a blast of berry up front. Okay, but from the Washington Post, Lucas Robbins and 12 of his friends gathered this week in a sewer with 13 purple milkshakes and a plan to go viral. The video posted Monday on Robbins' TikTok account begins at a McDonald's parking lot in San Clemente, California, but cuts to the sewer where the teenagers are lying shirtless and covered in melted purple shakes, some playing dead, while others scream in panic. The video has received 1.6 million views, though at a very messy cost to everyone involved. Enzo Candal, one of Robbins' friends, said, "It just got, super sticky. I'm all sticky. And it was really nasty. And I got 2 towels, which was not enough." This was just one of thousands of videos posted on TikTok as a part of the Grimace Shake trend, featuring a berry-flavored drink named after the fast food chain's furry purple mascot. First of all, McDonald's has a lot of mascots.
Yeah, they have a few.
A slew of characters. It's almost like Sesame Street.
But you only hear about Ronald.
He's the main star.
Yeah, he's like their Elmo. Grimace
is like tier 3, I feel like. Nobody respects him. He doesn't get enough, partially because nobody knows what he is.
Yeah.
It's never been declared. He's just giant and purple and shaped like a pear.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Chunky.
A little bit.
I Think You Should Leave.
Don't curse. McDonald's released the shake on June 12th, back to the Washington Post article, but it wasn't until the TikTok trend caught fire last weekend that sales took off. The trend started publicly, not by the McDonald's marketing team, but by fans, such as Robbins. Features people enacting scenes akin to horror movies, usually scored with dramatic music and in some cases, elaborate plots. Videos posted on TikTok with the hashtag Grimace Shake have been viewed 400 million times so far. And this is as of Wednesday, I believe. So now, on Friday, I'm guessing that number is up probably over 1 billion, if I had to guess. I'll continue the article. Demands for Grimace Shakes led to some stores running out of ice cream by the middle of the day, said McDonald's employees in New York City and Minneapolis. Emily Downey, who works at a McDonald's in Brooklyn, said, "It started off pretty lighthearted, but as it got viral on TikTok, you could definitely see that there was a lot more business in terms of the Grimace meal and even people just coming in to get, the shake by itself." On Thursday, McDonald's acknowledged the trend openly for the first time, posting a video to its TikTok account of Grimace covering its eyes with the caption, "Me pretending I don't see the Grimace Shake trend." Wendy Zajac, faculty director of marketing at Georgetown University, heard about the trend not through work, but from her 3 Gen Z kids. She said, "If I were a marketer trying to create a viral campaign, I don't know that I would have said, 'Hey, drink my milkshake and die.' But it connects to a generation, and at the end of the day, it's boosting sales. It's getting people to try a purple milkshake." Says it's not the first time McDonald's has benefited from the unintended viral marketing of one of its products. In 2020, the company's Travis Scott meal attracted attention when customers took to TikTok to post videos of themselves ordering the meal by blaring the rapper's song "Sicko Mode" in drive-thru lines.
And weren't they supposed to say Cactus Jack sent me?
Yes.
So you think people were saying Grimace sent me for this one?
I don't know. I don't know if you'd want to speak his name in vain.
Is it kind of like Bloody Mary? You don't want to say it 3 times?
Yeah, because out of the fear that it'll come and eat you or whatever it's doing to people. It says, like with the Travis Scott meal, the Grimace Shake trend has boosted sales at the cost of bringing chaos to its employees' workplace, said Dilma Juvio, the manager of a McDonald's restaurant in D.C. She said, "Most people buying them mention the TikToks. We've sold hundreds each day, but it's a nuisance to employees. Some customers have posted videos of their friends pouring the shake on themselves in the restaurant lobby. In a video posted by the user Lunden Hala, McDonald's employees tell a shirtless customer covered in purple shake to get out of the restaurant and threaten to call security." So obviously, I'm not exactly in the TikTok demographic, being a little bit older, being 36. Kade's about to turn 26 tomorrow. So he texted me a couple days ago. He's like, "Yo, have you seen the Grimace Shake trend?" And I was like, I honestly, when I heard it, I was like, it's going to be like the Harlem Shake, but something related to McDonald's.
Yeah.
And it sort of actually kind of is a little bit. Because if you remember the Harlem Shake, like the music starts and then everybody goes crazy.
Yeah, everyone's like super like chill for a little bit,
Yeah.
and the beat drops. And
it cuts to a completely chaotic scene, right?
Yeah.
Except with the Grimace Shake, it's almost always somebody like enjoying the shake. Now that I've heard of it and Kade texted me, I got on TikTok. Actually, one of the first videos that got served to me was a Grimace Shake video. And then I clicked on the hashtag and scrolled through a bunch of them. And it's almost always somebody like having the shake, presenting it, being like, "Happy birthday, Grimace." And then as they go to take a sip, this like really dark music starts playing. And then it cuts to them. Like in one example, it was a young woman saying "Happy birthday, Grimace," and then it cut to her laying on like the beach where the tide is like rolling up onto her legs, but she's like clearly dead and has like purple coming out of her mouth.
yeah, people are getting very creative with the trend here. Everyone's like trying to one up each other. It seems like.
Yeah, you got to hand it to them. I mean, a lot of this is very highly produced. I mean, it's creating great content.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I get a chuckle every time I see one.
But if you're in McDonald's corporate office, this is a really double-edged sword. And on one hand, you're obviously moving a shit ton of purple milkshakes with a confusing taste. But on the other hand, your marketing that you didn't create, the marketing that you didn't create that is moving all these units is death-based and like horror.
Yeah, it's probably not the viral trend they were looking for, but
they'll take it though.
They will. Yeah, they're moving a shit ton of products just for people to take a sip of them and then dump
die.
the rest on their die, but like
Theoretically,
taking the shake and just dumping it all over their bodies.
I mean, in fairness, the McDonald's characters and really all, like Ronald McDonald's terrifying. That's what I'm trying to say. All of the McDonald's characters, like Hamburglar and shit, like look like they could be something in a fucked up horror movie.
Yeah.
Especially Grimace, who is a giant purple blob.
I'm sure we're going to get, in the next few years, maybe like a horror film with all these McDonald characters. Kind of like Winnie the Pooh. Like that horror film. I could definitely see something in that same vein.
I don't want to drink this because I already kind of feel like I'm going to shit myself. There's 2 versions of the Grimace meal you can get. I got the 10-piece nugget, and then the other version is the Big Mac, which you got.
Yeah.
How's your stomach doing?
I'm chilling right now.
Mine's a little bubbly. It's not great, and I'm scared.
When's the last time you had McDonald's?
It's been a while, brother. It's been a while. I've been eating kind of healthy, so this was a risky Friday afternoon treat, and I'm scared to top it off with this purple goo
That definitely came from Grimace's body.
Yeah,
that's from somewhere.
That's the other
they
thing
either
about
milked
this.
him or they made him come. I don't know.
Can a Grimace be milked? That's the question. I'm gonna guess it's cum.
It's his cum.
But some kind of Grimace excrement here that I'm not sure I want, inside of me.
But I loved how I think they said in the article that some of the machines have broken. I feel like they just
run out.
Or they run out. I feel like a lot of McDonald's now are just like saying, "Oh, our ice cream machine's broken."
I'm kind of shocked we got ours. Frankly,
yeah,
we got it delivery, and they actually showed up with the purple shake, the coveted death shake.
Yeah, it's
results may vary,
Exactly.
You and I are still okay. We're sitting.
No,
here.
we're chilling right now. Nothing bad has happened.
Not yet. I'm kind of worried though. Like
just gonna bust down the door,
come through the window and slaughter both of us.
Some people it looks like they either overdose on it,
right,
or that Grimace
comes and murders them.
Yeah,
it's one of the two though.
Yeah, and then I've also seen a lot of the times people will just have their shirts off and stuff too. So I'm like, is Grimace
sexually assaulting them?
Yeah. Because I've seen them tied up and stuff too. I'm like, what is
It gets so dark. Some of them are so fucking dark.
I've seen one with the satanic star or whatever. I don't know what it's called exactly, but I've seen stuff like that. People are just taking it all the way. Sometimes it's crazy, and
weird
then people are going to these sewers and empty abandoned buildings,
graveyards.
Yeah, and I've seen people walk just rivers. I'm oh, that's there's no way they're face down, and I'm nah, not doing that for a TikTok. Are you kidding me? But
yeah, people anything for clout,
Exactly.
I think Cardi B said that. Who also has a McDonald's meal, the Cardi B and Offset meal. I never went and got that one, nor the Travis Scott. The ways that McDonald's lure us in to get diabetes are fascinating.
But this one very much worked.
Yeah, but they didn't do it. That's
exactly.
The thing. Who's the first person who did that? That's the other thing. Somebody should be getting credit here that isn't. Because somebody did the first Grimace Shake, right? Somebody started the trend, and McDonald's needs to cut that person a massive check because they have made them millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, and they didn't even have to do anything. They definitely had their own marketing thing that they were thinking of, but then
it was Grimace's birthday. That was it. Nobody was going to give a fuck about that.
Yeah, and then some person on TikTok just took it and ran with it and started a viral marketing trend without McDonald's having to do a single thing of work. Are you trying to find some ingredients in it or something?
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's any other labeling on the big cup they give you. It says "Celebrate Grimace's birthday," which is in and of itself the dumbest fucking marketing campaign of all time. Again, that's why they should be paying somebody here.
Yeah,
some kid probably deserves at least $1 million check for moving all these purple shakes. Fucking bizarre. The social media age is bizarre.
And no one could try to copy this. It's so organic. McDonald's couldn't do this again if they wanted to.
It's that the age-old adage about going viral is that you can't force it, and you never really know when something is actually going to take hold on a cultural level like this, sweep the nation, and have all the Zoomers out there pretending to die as a result of Grimace. The irony, of course, being that if you eat enough McDonald's, you would actually die.
Yeah, that's the message behind all this.
Because of the lack of nutritional value.
Well, you could get a salad, maybe.
Yeah, but even that, I question whether or not it's lettuce or manufactured in a lab.
And also they might have gist in it.
I mean, it's possible. It's entirely possible. But yeah, happy birthday to Kade and also our giant purple overlord Grimace. Today's episode is brought to you by Indochino. Looking sharp all wedding season long. Shouldn't be expensive. With a custom-fitted suit from Indochino, you'll create priceless memories without costing a fortune. Customize every detail on your suit, shirt, dinner jacket, and more in a range of colors from a traditional black or gray to burgundy or olive to a classic Hemsworth navy. I can tell you personally, the Indochino experience is incredible. Whether you go to one of their showrooms in person and get measured up or you just do it from home. I have done both now. I've been to the Indochino in Austin. It was very nice, But for my most recent order, I measured myself at home. I checked out all their stuff strictly online through their website, and the end result is still the best custom clothing experience I've ever had. I have their Stockport wool linen olive suit, my favorite suit that I own. I love it. You can see it on my Instagram. I also got a Halesworth basket weave shirt with my initials, WRB, right there on the cuff. This full look you can find on my Instagram if you want to see it. Every Indochino suit is made to your exact measurements, and you can customize every detail. Create a suit that fits you and your style perfectly with options for fabrics, lapel shape, custom monograms, statement linings, and more. They are always adding new pieces and options so you can stay on trend and in style. They've got tuxedo options as well if you're looking to rock a tux at a black tie wedding, or perhaps just for you as the groom of your own wedding. RSVP knowing you've got the perfect look all wedding season long from Indochino. Go to Indochino.com and use code RBP to get 10% off any purchase of $3.99 or more. That's INDOCHINO, Indochino.com, promo code RBP. In sports news, today, the man known as JVG has officially lost his job. From the New York Post, ESPN has let go of its top NBA game analyst, Jeff Van Gundy. The Post has learned Van Gundy, 61, has been with ESPN for 16 years, calling the finals with play-by-player Mike Breen and co-game analyst Mark Jackson. ESPN is letting go of around 20 on-air personalities in an effort to save tens of millions of dollars. This is like a mass layoff, basically, that occurred over the past 24 hours. Van Gundy's exact salary is not public, but we can safely assume he was making millions of dollars. Jalen Rose, an analyst on NBA Countdown, was also let go. That's another one of the biggest names that was released.
I saw Max Kellerman, too.
Yeah.
There's another one. Surprisingly, Kendrick Perkins still has a job.
Yeah, the decisions are questionable at best. This article says Van Gundy is considered to be among the all-time greatest NBA TV game analysts, both by the numbers and his ability. He ends his ABC ESPN career just shy of 100 NBA Finals games, has been routinely outspoken about the NBA, including its officiating, while displaying a relaxed demeanor on air that allowed him to analyze the game thoroughly and provide humor with his sometimes outside-the-box observations. I found it interesting that most of the articles I read were referring to him as like one of the greatest to ever do it, just because Van Gundy, otherwise known as JVG, has always been sort like he brings like lightness and comedy to the commentating more than anything. It's not that he doesn't make good points sometimes, but he's mostly the guy that like I love watching because if you're watching a regular season NBA game that's kind of a blowout or whatever, like on whatever network, I guess ESPN. He keeps it interesting because he's so funny. He's such an entertaining guy. It's not like by the book commentating about what's occurring on the floor. He throws out like the most random points and shit. And one of the things he often does is throw out like rule changes that he would implement essentially if he was like the commissioner of the league, and they're usually outrageous. And he's given like hundreds of them over the course of the years. But it says he has been routinely outspoken about the NBA, including its officiating, while displaying a relaxed demeanor. Oh, I read that already. The point being, he would criticize the league while commentating on the league's product. And I think that's probably part of the reason that he got the axe here, because the NBA, I'm assuming, based on their partnership with ESPN, did get to have some say in like who stayed and who went, is my guess.
Yeah. So would he be able to go to like TNT or something? I think that's the only one that does NBA.
I doubt he will, honestly, because that's a long run. I didn't realize he'd been doing this for 16 years. Like, I fell in love with Jeff Van Gundy when he was coaching my Houston Rockets from 2003 to 2007, and that was his last coaching gig before he started commentating and became an analyst. And I'll be honest, this season it did feel like he kind of fell off. Like, I'd be watching NBA games and with Van Gundy commentating, and I was just like, what the fuck is he talking? It kind of lost its luster. Like, the bit ran out of steam.
Yeah.
But now that I know how long he's been doing it, frankly, that's an incredible run to just be in there, like, spouting off nonsense.
It sucks that he was just shy of 100 NBA Finals games.
Yeah, that's a bummer. It's like
fucking Miami Heat could have pulled out one more maybe, and you would have gotten there.
Would have been a great milestone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so he always commentated or analyzed with Mark Jackson and Mike Breen. And they were such a ridiculous trio with like Mike Breen. I'm pretty sure he's the bang guy. That he was like the straight man, like the dude
he was
who,
the like play-by-play.
Yeah, the professional. Yeah. And then Van Gundy and Mark Jackson would just make like outrageous commentary, and it became such a ridiculous stereotype that it became a meme online. And really, just this past season is when this meme developed during the postseason. So the memes would be like, I just pulled up an example. Mark Jackson says, "Even with the trench coats, I knew they were Ninja Turtles. Everybody did." And then Van Gundy says, "In 1983, I visited something called the Human Zoo just outside of Albany. I saw unspeakable things that day that still haunt me to my core." And then Mike Breen says, "Foul on Josh Hart." Because it would always be those two just rambling about incoherent nonsense, and then Mike Breen trying to keep it on point and pay attention to the game. And it made the most unintentional humor that I've ever experienced in sports commentating, outside of maybe like Mexican soccer when they do like goal for like 10 minutes. I'm not going to do it because it would get annoying, but that shit is hilarious. But yeah, so the memes would always be a photo of the three of them with each of them having a quote. And I think I even did one on my personal Twitter at one point, but I'm not going to bother to find it. Anyway, the point is, bummer. Sad to see JVG get cut with a lot of these other talented people at ESPN. But then again, I'm not really an ESPN fan.
No,
So-
I kind of hate their programming now. I mean, they got Scott Van Pelt and like just like regular like Sports Center is cool, but all their other shows are just
Weird that the two guys that I really love, though, are like three-letter acronyms, JVG and SVP.
yeah.
Friend of the show. Really not a friend of the show, just a friend of Bruce.
Yeah, he just likes Bruce.
He just likes Bruce. He's never actually said anything about RVP, which is also a three-letter acronym that's great, that can't be cut by ESPN.
Yeah. Well, I've been seeing they're trying to get Pat McAfee, like trying to pay him a shit ton of money. That's why
ESPN is?
Yeah, that's just what I've been seeing on the Twitters.
I mean, it's possible.
I know like he's been doing stuff with College Game Day and all that, but
one of the things they definitely need to do is find a way to connect with the younger audience that's coming up, right? So, like, I get a lot of these names that we just said that have been let go. Those are people that connected with, like, my generation and up, really, for the most part. So, it'll be interesting to see what they do moving forward. I probably won't pay that close of attention, though, to be honest with you, because I just don't really give a fuck.
yeah, no, we kind of just have like when we're here, we just have ESPN on in the background, not really paying attention.
They just repeat, like, even when I'll usually put it on just because it's like something nice I don't have to pay attention to while I write the show or whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I'm writing the show, even I'll see something that I already saw, because they're just, especially during the weekdays, they're just repeating the same programming. So they'll like run Sports Center 3 fucking times in a 2-hour period, and I'm just like, ugh, God. Anyway, moving on. Last week, we talked about the Instagram ads that both Kade and I see on the gram. I can't remember if this was Patreon or our regularly scheduled programming, but yesterday evening, when I opened Instagram, I got hit with the most insane ad I have maybe ever seen on social media. It was for Walmart, like Walmart, the Walmart, trying to sell me an 18-karat gold, 36-millimeter Rolex President Day Date diamond watch with a green dial and 15.11 carats worth of diamonds for, because it didn't say the price. It was just a watch, and I almost thought it was like a meme, like from one of the joke accounts, because I was like, why the fuck would this looks like a watch a rapper would have on? Like, why would Walmart be slanging these? And I clicked on it, and it took me to the Walmart website, and it was like $38,000 and change. $38,000.
You were probably assuming like at first it was like some like fake watch or something, like not like.
Well, I mean, first thing I checked was like, all right, is this really the Walmart account? Because I didn't want it to. I thought it might be like some kind of a spam setup, phishing deal or whatever. And then the second thing I assumed was like, okay, well, even if it takes me there, I'm guessing this will be fake. It'll be like cubic zirconium or whatever. Yeah. There's no way this is a legitimate diamond watch. But it said in the description, 15.11 carats. So I was like, what the fuck? Click on it, takes me. Not only do they have this one watch, they have like a large selection of pre-owned luxury watches on Walmart.com.
Oh, they're all pre-owned.
I don't know if this one was,
one?
but like that's their bread and butter apparently.
It's pre-owned watches.
Pre-owned luxury watches, but I don't really like. I'm doing all right financially. Okay, like mostly I'm just house poor and live paycheck to paycheck because I keep as much money as I can invested in Bolin Media. But I am nowhere near the level of baller to be casually dropping almost 40 grand on a diamond Rolex through an Instagram ad. And my biggest question is, I just want to know, like, has this ever worked? Like, have they ever sold a single watch of that value through the gram or just through Walmart.com in general? Because I don't feel like people who can afford watches in that price range are, one, copying them through Instagram, or two, copying them through Walmart.
Yeah, when I think of luxury watches, Walmart's probably the last place I would go to.
It doesn't compute in my head at all. I just want to know what happened here. Like, what maybe part of the strategy, like, even if, let's say, Walmart executives decided, like, we've got this market for pre-owned luxury watches. I'm guessing the social media strategy is that it's such an outrageous thing to see next to Walmart's name that a lot of people do end up clicking on it, like I did, to see, like, what the hell? And can't even say what the hell anymore without it reminding us of I think you should leave. But then people click on it and, like, out of confusion, they end up buying, like, other dumb shit from Walmart, is my guess.
Yeah, and don't you, like, I'm sure you get something for at least just, like, clicking on it, right? Like, clicking on the ad.
Like, get something? What do you mean?
I mean, like, don't you get paid, or...
Don't they get paid?
Doesn't someone get paid for just, like, clicking on the ad?
I don't know. I don't think so. Because, Instagram gets paid. Facebook
okay, so,
gets
yeah,
paid.
those are the people that get paid.
But I have no idea what the fuck Walmart is doing with this. It's like maybe they just have too much money. But I would love to know if even a single living human has purchased a tens of thousands of dollars watch from Walmart.
I am fairly confident that
somebody
someone
has.
Yeah.
What a country.
There are like 8 billion people in this world. I'm sure there's one person out there.
Did you say million or billion?
I think I said billion.
Yeah, it's billion.
Billion, yeah.
Billion. Yeah.
There's at least 8 million on this. I know that.
Speaking of dumbass products, Aubrey Graham, also known as Drake, among the most famous and accomplished music makers in history, has dropped a poetry book called Titles Ruin Everything. And Kade, it's my understanding that there's also another album he's promoting in conjunction with this.
It's called For All the Dogs.
For All the Dogs.
Yeah.
WGS. Isn't it? Maybe. I'll check that. For All the Dogs. Yeah, no, it's DOGS. So maybe it's literally for dogs.
It's an album for Bruce and Bella.
But this is a poetry book, and the book, and I'm using the term book loosely here, it's 168 pages, okay? But it's usually one line per page. Like every once in a while as you flip through it, there will be 0 words on one page and then 2 lines on the next page. But most of it is you flip to a page and there's a line on one side and a line on the other side on the other page, and then the 2 pages comprise a single poem, and I'm using the term poem loosely here as well. I'll give you some examples, because I was on Instagram again, spending way too much time on there, and I saw DJ Khaled had put up a post reading some of this book. And like even you could tell he was trying to like help promote his friend's poetry book, because like him and Drake are boys. They make a lot of music together. But even he like couldn't take it seriously. Like he would read one and you could tell he was like fighting back laughter because it's so absolutely outrageous. It's like exactly what I should have expected from a Drake poetry book.
Like, is this like a big joke, you think, for him?
I really can't tell. Like, okay, I'll give you some of them, all right? So here's some examples. There are 2 types of women in this world. And then the next page says, women who like giving head and women who I don't like. Here's the next one. What's mine is mine, not yours. And then the next page has parentheses, heart included, end parentheses.
So the one page is what's mine is mine, not yours. And then the next page is just
the parentheses, heart included. Yeah. Another one. My therapist told me I need to stop listening to what people tell me. And then the next page says, but if I take her advice, wouldn't I be listening to what people tell me? It's some of it is like puns and stupid fucking jokes, like the one about blowjobs. But then other ones are like, it's him trying to be deep. It's like, you know how his music gets made into Instagram captions constantly because he says the cheesiest shit?
Yeah.
It's like that on repeat for 168
I feel like
pages.
these would like be quotes on like like the live, laugh, love signs. Like
yeah.
These would be like quotes on those kinds of things.
Here's another one. Oh, how smooth life would go if you knew what you pretend to know. Man. Really makes you think, Kade.
It does.
Another one.
Some wisdom.
No one is gaslighting you. The next page says, you're just so toxic that you're flammable. Okay. And then one more. You're not thugging, you're kidding. Next page. One-sided beef is not beef, it's chicken. I don't know what the fuck that means. I mean,
I mean, don't you like grill both sides of it?
Yeah, but beef is beef and chicken is chicken. There's not one-sided beef. I get what he's trying to say, but also it's just stupid. That's the point. I'm assuming he will make, like, they sold out.
Of course he did.
They sold out. Like, that's the part of it that's as somebody who put their blood, sweat, and tears into writing a New York Times best-selling frat smut novella, this is frustrating. Because he's probably going to make the New York Times bestseller list with this dumb shit. But if I had known I only had to write one line per page, like it's 168 sentences essentially. And there's that's a book.
Yeah. You could have come up with, there are two types of women in this world, women who like giving head and women who I don't like.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, and that's not even new. That's like an old, stupid fucking dad joke. And that's what these are. They're like, it's a lot of dad jokes.
Well, he is in his dad era.
He is, that's true. And also just a lot of really shallow, deep thoughts. That's the other
Shallow,
shit.
deep.
The most shallow depth you could possibly imagine. And it's a weird book. I'm not tempted to buy this one. Like if somebody sent it to me, I'd put it in the studio.
How much was it?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. It couldn't have been much. Surely it was like $20. I guess I can Google that too. Drake poetry book price. Come on, Google. Yeah, I don't know.
No idea. Oh, that's
when you type in Drake poetry book, Robert Drake is what pops up a lot. So that's frustrating.
But I do love the title though. It's a really good one.
Titles ruin everything.
Yeah.
It does feel like this is all a big troll job.
I feel like that's what he's just been doing with like everything lately. He's just trolling everyone.
Yeah. Two types of women in this world, though. Now we know. Now we know. Today's episode is also brought to you by Manscaped. This is a public service announcement. Manscaped now has beard products and is going even further with their brand new Weed Whacker 2.0. Go ahead and tell the world the leaders in below-the-waist grooming are traveling north of your South Pole with their revolutionary grooming products. The Weed Whacker 2.0 and their new beard line confirms they have all the best tools for your hygiene toolbox. Really, at this point, Manscaped has everything you need as a man to take care of all of the different types of hairs that your body grows. From your nose holes to your ear holes to your balls and dick and everything in between. And now your beard, they've got you covered. Time for you to upgrade your game by going to manscaped.com and using our code RBP for 20% off plus free shipping. You may have noticed my facial hair is looking less patchy and more professionally groomed as of late. That's thanks to Manscaped's new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. If you're a bearded member of the RBP gang, you must cop. It is the ultimate package that makes it even easier than ever to craft your signature look. It all starts with the cordless electric beard hedger. It's tough on hair but smooth on your face, leading to single-stroke efficiency that brings satisfaction. One stroke at a time. It's waterproof. Cordless. It has a rotary wheel that gives you 20 hair cutting lengths, all with one guard, so you don't have a messy drawer full of extra add-ons. One guard. The Pro Kit also comes with 4 dermatologist-tested formulations for your post-trim care. And this is something I had never done before that I know a lot of beard dudes do. They use beard oil and beard shampoo and conditioner, beard balm, to moisturize, style, and shimmer your beard. Manscaped provides all of that in their new beard kit, plus 3 free gifts, a beard brush, comb, and scissors as well. So like those of you with beards, you know, oftentimes after you trim, you'll have still have one hair or whatever that maybe doesn't go. You use the little scissors to make sure you get everything even. And with a nice beard, your face is perfectly groomed, right? Wrong. You need to keep an eye out for those tough-to-trim ear and nose hairs. The brand new Weed Whacker 2.0 offers improved blades and skin-safe technology with a no-tugging guarantee. I can't give you that same guarantee, Kade. I might tug. It's never been so painless to mind your manholes, and now that your face is looking great, you must try Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0 for the full body grooming experience to get your downstairs mix-up looking right and tight as well. Your significant other will be delighted to see you covering all bases, if you know what I mean. So get 20% off with free shipping when you use our code RBP at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use our code RBP. And if you're non-bearded, maybe your significant other or a friend in your life has a gnarly beard that needs care, go to manscaped.com. Use code RBP. Get 20% off when you give them the gift that keeps on giving. Always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Speaking of men, today marks the end of Men's Mental Health Month, which frankly, I did not realize was a thing. Did you know that
there's a mental health month and a men's?
There's a mental health awareness month. And then there's Men's Mental Health Month, which is also Pride Month, which is also Chicken Leg Pride Month. So it's confusing.
Yeah, a lot of things to keep track of
in
the month of June.
It's a lot.
It's also Grimace's birthday.
It's also Grimace's birthday. So, tough to keep track of it all. But mental health and taking it seriously as a society is something that really catapulted into the mainstream as a result of the pandemic in 2020 and has obviously been a focus of this show since its inception years before that even, largely because of the fact that I, as a man, recognize that men do not discuss mental health nearly enough, if at all, and it's something that I have struggled with myself since I was 21 years old. The idea that men are somehow weak if they show emotion or are somehow weak if they talk about their feelings has basically crippled us as a sex. It has done innumerable needless damage to humanity over the course of history, and as such, I implore men to open up to their friends, push each other to share their struggles with one another, and seek therapy if needed. Therapy has been a massive part of my life and led me to start doing a series on Patreon called Mental Health Minisodes that are available on the RBP Patreon page to share some of what I learn in therapy with those in our audience who are supporting the show in exchange for more. It's almost like indirect therapy, like secondary, because literally half the episodes, half the mental health minisodes I've done are as a result of things that I have learned through my own therapy. So today, in honor of Men's Mental Health Month, I am sharing a mental health minisode from April of this year in full with you all, and I picked one that certainly is applicable not to just men. So please enjoy this mental health minisode from patreon.com/Ross Bolin podcast, where I discuss setting healthy expectations for your day-to-day life and the impact that healthy expectations can have on your overall mental health. Welcome back for another mental health minisode presented by Bolin Media. I am your host, Ross Bolin. Okay, I can't do the entire show in that voice, but I do feel tempted sometimes when I come into the studio to do these mental health minisodes to speak like I'm on NPR, like in the most professional possible way with a tone and pacing that is relaxing and calming to the nerves. But I'm not capable of forcing myself to do that for much longer than 5 seconds at a time. So thank you for being here. Today, I want to talk about yet another one of the things that I've had to work on personally a great deal over the last several months, especially one of the things I've had to work on the hardest in my life over the last several months, especially introducing a newborn baby into the mix. I want to talk about expectations and setting expectations and having healthy expectations. And when I say that, I don't just mean on a high level, like what you expect for your life. I mean on a day-to-day basis even. because managing your mental health can be incredibly difficult if you have unrealistic expectations that you have set for yourself, for your life, for your circumstances. And I'll just give you an example, one that applies to me personally and one that has been a struggle for me and that I've had to make adjustments around. So before we had baby RJ, typically, like with most couples that have kids, you know, we have my stepdaughter before RJ came around. You don't get to spend as much time together during the day or one-on-one or focused on one another as you do before you have kids. Like, that's a huge adjustment in a marriage or in any relationship when you introduce children into the equation, because they become the focus, and you have to give a lot of your energy and effort and time to raising them, to playing with them, to teaching them, to interacting with them, right? That's the way it goes, or the way it's supposed to go if you're a good parent or trying to be. And in our case, like, there was an initial adjustment for me with that when, you know, my wife had her daughter already when I met her, and I had never been with anybody who had a kid before, so it was an adjustment in my expectation of how much time and energy and effort she would have for me, my wife. So then, and vice versa, really. But when we introduced RJ into the equation, that became an even more intense reality check, where, like, the example is, if I go into every day expecting that at night, when my wife and I used to get most of our one-on-one time, right, like after the kid goes to sleep or kids go to sleep, if I'm expecting, like, we're going to get to 8 p.m., the kids are going to be asleep, and then we're going to have all this energy to, like, watch movies together and hang out and, you know, the other extracurricular activities, that is not a very realistic expectation, because especially with a newborn, you're both so tired and exhausted and lacking in energy and time, and it doesn't pan out that way all the time. So if you went into every day, if I go into every day expecting that at night we're going to get to hang, that's going to have our one-on-one time, we're going to have, you know, fun together, watch movies, talk, that's not always going to be the case. So I could be let down, or vice versa. This could apply to her as well. There are plenty of nights where I'm like, I got nothing left. I did 3 shows today. We did the kids. I don't want any more words to come out of my mouth. I just want to watch some TV and go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? So your expectation in this example, my expectation is important, because if I expect a certain thing and then it doesn't happen, I'm setting myself up for the feeling of disappointment. Which is typically the way it plays for me. Like, if I don't go in with healthy expectations, I find myself frustrated or disappointed. And this applies with work as well, where if I'm just expecting, this is exactly what is going to happen tomorrow. I'm going to get this done, this done, this done, and this done. And then something gets thrown in, a curveball, or let's say I only sleep for like 2 hours because of the baby or something. Then I don't have the energy or the time, or there's a scheduling change, or somebody's sick or out, or like if Oysters, Clams, and Cockles is supposed to be recorded and Barrett has to move it. Suddenly, what I thought was going to happen, my expectations have been shifted. And now, obviously, I should throw in here, one of the factors is your ability to change your expectations on the fly. I am not very good at that. So I have to go into the day with the expectation that something could go wrong, something could change, and that's okay. I have to go into to each day with the expectation that, like, it is possible that everything goes perfectly to plan. It could happen, but it's not likely, and I have to be okay with that. And that way, I'm avoiding all this frustration and disappointment that comes with the letdown of things changing or not going the way I anticipated. For me, because there are so many different pieces of my life, well, all of my life right now that has that constant variable of change as a possibility, I have to be really careful about this, because if both things go wrong, or not wrong, see, even that is the wrong phrasing, the incorrect phrasing. If both things get changed up, but my professional life at work and my home life at home don't go the way I anticipated, then I feel this immense frustration of like, oh, what the fuck is happening? Like, the wheels are coming off. And I have a tendency as a human being that struggles with my mental health to spiral when that happens. Everything is going wrong. The wheels are falling off. How am I ever going to fix any of this? I'm never going to get everything done that I want at work. I'm never going to get to spend time with my wife again. Like, all that shit just deteriorates in my brain. And it's not necessarily true. In fact, 99.9% of the time, the spiral is totally inaccurate. It's just a freak out. But it negatively impacts my mental health and then puts me in a position where if I stack a bunch of bad days like that, I get depressed because my expectations weren't set healthily to put me in a position to get the most enjoyment out of my life. And that's what I'm at a point, just with my personal example, with a newborn, with the 4-year-old, with the running the business, and with doing 3 different podcasts every week, with 3 different shows, with like 6 podcasts between them, where I have to be flexible all of the time, or try my best to be flexible all of the time, and set my expectations around the fact that I don't really know what's going to happen on any given day. And that gives me a better chance at really appreciating the days that do go right, where I do get to spend a good deal of time at night with my wife, where I do get everything done that I expected at work, where things go off as they're supposed to or as I planned them to, right? It gives me a better chance to be happy and enjoy my life when I know I have to be flexible every single day. And because this is new to me, and especially the amplified version of it now with a baby in the house, it's of the utmost importance that I practice this every single day, because when I don't, I struggle. When I don't practice setting my expectations healthily and properly, I put myself in this position where I experience a ton of frustration and disappointment. And it's not fair to me, but from a non-selfish angle, it's not fair to my coworkers, it's not fair to my wife, it's not fair to my kids, because it makes it more difficult for me to stay present and stay focused and stay committed to doing the things I'm supposed to be doing for them. So expectations matter. It's just that for some of us, we learn different things at different points in life, right? Not all of us are on the same track. We all have this different life path that we learn different things at different times. I, being one of these people, some of us don't learn this expectation setting skill at a young age, where it really took me up until my late 20s before it even became a thing, and then until my early 30s before it really became a thing when kids got introduced to the equation. But like, I've had several relationships in the past, millions of work situations. I feel like millions is probably an exaggeration, but a lot of situations at work where I didn't set expectations, and then suddenly I was like, what is happening? And it was really, really hard on me. And then I made it harder on the people around me because I didn't have my fucking shit together. And so all that is to say, depending on your life circumstances and how complicated or big your life is at the moment, it's something that you may want to give a little more consideration to. Now, some of you listening are very naturally good at this. You go into each day with a certain set of expectations that serve you. And that's the key. You want your expectations to serve you. Setting unrealistic, too lofty expectations, that doesn't do you any good. It doesn't serve you. Now, you may be the type of person like me who feels like, well, if I set my expectations as high as possible, it pushes me, it motivates me, it gives me a better chance at accomplishing more. And that may be the case. But if you find that strategy is ending with you disappointed and frustrated more often than not, it is no longer a sound strategy. And you have to be willing to look at yourself, do some self-analysis, and say, this isn't good for me anymore. I need to change this up. I need to go into each day with a different set of expectations than what I was before. If you undergo a big life change, if you move to a new city, get a new job, start a new relationship, get married, have kids, get a bunch of dogs or whatever, get a new pet, that is an example of a time during any big transition where you might have to adjust your expectations of what is going to occur in each day of your life, right? Because those things cause change, they cause uncertainty, and they cause learning curves that will force you to adjust whether you like it or not eventually, which is kind of the position I found myself in with, like, when we first had baby RJ. He's the ultimate example of having a baby, so I'm going to use him. I knew going in, this is going to change things, obviously. I'm not a fucking idiot. I was like, this is going to make work a little bit harder. This is going to make getting time with my wife a little bit harder. This is going to make a lot of things a little bit harder, at least for a while, right? When they're, under 6 months old, it is a up and down ride sort of the whole time. Everybody who's had kids can tell you this. Like, you just sort of have to live your life on the fly. You don't know what's going to happen. And even so, I didn't really understand like what my expectations should be. So I didn't adjust them very much. I just sort of went with it. And that ended up being not great. I didn't have clarity around this newfound flexibility that I'm expressing to you now, where I'm going into each day like, I don't know what the fuck is going to happen. And whatever does happen, I'm cool with that. And whatever I do get lucky enough to get done, whatever I am lucky enough to experience, whatever time I'm fortunate enough to get, I'm cool with that. And I try not to control too much, and I try not to put my expectations in a place where I'm going to end the day upset that I didn't get what I wanted. And that's such a big piece of it here. Is like, we all have this inner child, or like when you hear people refer to that, if you've never been in therapy, it's essentially like the version of you that isn't a grown-up that's inside of you that says like, I want these things, me, here's what I need. And when you don't get those things, or you don't get what you want, you get upset. Because that's how kids live. That's how little kids live, right? Little kid, you don't get the toy you wanted, you're upset. Why can't I have the toy I wanted? I don't understand. Adult, you don't get what you wanted. You're supposed to understand that that's not the way life works. You don't always get what you want. You can't always have what you want. Some days don't go the way you planned. That's an adult mindset. That means you know how the world works, and you are willing to handle whatever is thrown your way, which is what we all have to be at a certain point in our lives, right? We're supposed to become adults. Some of us do it later than others. Some of us never do it at all. And I feel that little kid in me do that when I set my expectations improperly, and then things don't pan out. Like, well, why didn't I get what I want? Kind of thing. And it's like, you kind of have to like, I used to try to like beat him down, like little Ross inside of me. Like, it's usually like the 14-year-old version of me that gets real upset, and I used to try to beat him down, just like, shut the fuck up, dude. Now I have to treat him with a level of grace and kindness, like where I try to treat myself better than I used to, as I've spent a lot of time talking about on this show. Self-talk and self-love have been a real focus for me as well. So I don't do the negative side of it, the negative version of it anymore. I try to come at it from like the angle of talking to myself like, look, man, like, you know, today was tough, and maybe you didn't get the things you wanted out of it, but tomorrow is a new day. You have a great life. Focus on the positives. Let's set some good expectations for the next one, so that this doesn't happen again, where you feel sad at the end of the day, or disappointed or frustrated. And that has helped me enormously with the newborn in the house, because it is such a challenge to surrender to that idea. And it's such a big shift from being a child or even a young adult, where life is just all about you, and when you're young and you're single and you don't have any dependents, and you don't have like a shitload of responsibility at work yet, you're just kind of doing your thing. There's less at stake almost, right? It makes it easier to not have to consider your expectations, because you're the only person affecting what happens to you on a day-to-day. It's all about you. But the older you get, and the more people that depend on you, and if you have a family or you get married, that really changes the circumstances, where you have to adjust your expectations to the other people in your life that you love and that are important to you and that you work with. And it just becomes a different ballgame. And because when I was a younger adult, this was not something that I really understood, I struggled, man. Like, professionally and personally, like my both personal life and professional life suffered as a result of my inability to wrangle in and manage my expectations on a day-to-day basis. Bigger picture, I'm pretty good at it. It's not something I struggle with a lot when you're looking at the long-term, bigger picture of life, expectations-wise for me. Like, I'm pretty good at setting goals. I'm pretty good at setting what I want to accomplish and then making sure it gets done longer-term, bigger picture. But when it comes to the day-to-day, I am not great at managing those expectations. It's something I have to work on a daily basis and remind myself of constantly. And most of the time, when I start to feel frustrated or annoyed or upset with what's happening in my day, I can stop, if I am able to stop myself right there and say, hey, is this related to your expectation for the situation? the answer is almost always yes. It's that I went into it with an unrealistic or unfair or unhealthy expectation for what may or may not occur. So it's something I've worked on in therapy and spent with a lot of time talking to my therapist about, like, because it's subconscious. It was subconscious for me. I was subconsciously setting expectations, not consciously addressing them and laying them out. And then when the day would go the way the day went, I would find myself upset all of a sudden, and I wouldn't really understand why. And this was a big part of it. It was that I needed to be consciously, which just means very intentionally and purposefully setting expectations for each day so that when things don't go my way, it doesn't feel like all hell is breaking loose. I'm not adding all this unnecessary stress, anxiety, frustration to the equation, and I'm able to stay focused and present and adjust accordingly so that I can be happy, or as happy as possible. And that is huge. That's like, this is such a big thing for me personally that I get excited talking about it because it's new. Like, it's new. It's a new concept that I am mastering. And I think it's one of those things that goes unsaid in a lot of ways. Like, there's not really a point where somebody deliberately sits you down and says, like, you're a grown-up now, and here's the things you need to change about the way you look at your life. It's you either get it or you don't. And for a lot of us like me who just don't naturally get that, it's important to have it sort of explained. And then I think it's important, if you're listening to this show and you're like, it really resonates with me, this is a problem for me, then now it's on you to go and sit with yourself, think about it enough, talk about it enough with your spouse or your therapist or your friends or your partner or whoever, until you grasp it in a way that you think is tangible for each day. And then you do it again the next day, and you do it again the next day, not necessarily the talking to everyone thing, but with yourself certainly, so that you can continue to sort of build this habit of setting realistic, healthy, good expectations for your life, for your day, for your hour. Sometimes you got to break it down hour by hour even. But day to day, I've found one day at a time has been the easiest way to do it for me. And the better a job I can do, it's setting good, healthy expectations, realistic expectations, the more likely it is that I will do one of the themes of this show, stack good days. And that's where I have found momentum. It's really, really working for me. I hope it does the same for some of you. As always, if you want to talk about this further, holler at me in the comments section or DM me on social media if you don't feel comfortable talking about it publicly, but you can also just tweet at me or whatever, and I'll be happy to reply. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. And until next time, peace be with you and also with you. All right, I hope that was helpful for some of you at least. Happy Men's Mental Health Month. And for more mental health minisodes, go to Patreon, patreon.com/Ross Bolin Podcast. And just to be clear, if you're on Patreon, there are 3 tiers. The first one is the RBP Gang. That's just $5 a month, and you gain access to our entire catalog of ad-free premium episodes of RBP in audio form. But if you want to get the mental health minisodes, you've got to be in the Enforcer tier. That's $10 a month, and you'll also gain access to full video of all of our premium ad-free episodes if video exists, which it does for most of them. So patreon.com/Ross Bolin Podcast. Jump in that Enforcer tier for all of the mental health minisodes that I've done. I think there's like 40 plus now. So enjoy. Today's episode is also brought to you by Rocket Money. If you're like me and always looking to manage your budget better and save money, you need Rocket Money. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill. It's a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It also monitors your spending and helps you lower all your bills in one place. Over 80% of people have subscriptions they just forget about, like that streaming service you bought to watch one show on, or that free trial you signed up for that you never even used that is now charging you every month, and you don't even know it. Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you so you can stop paying for the ones you don't want. Rocket Money makes canceling subscriptions as easy as the click of a button. You simply find the subscription you don't want, and you press cancel, and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. No more long hold times with customer service or tedious emailing back and forth. Over 3 million people have used Rocket Money, saving the average person up to $720 a year. I can't tell you how much money I've wasted on unwanted subscriptions over the years. At one point, I realized I'd still been paying for an annual Xbox Live subscription, and I had given my Xbox away years prior. That's why Rocket Money exists, baby. Stop throwing your money away, cancel unwanted subscriptions, and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/RBP. That's rocketmoney.com/RBP, ROCKET money.com/RBP. Another Chicken Leg Pride Month is coming to an end. Today is the last day of June. Always one of my favorite months of the year, honestly. Beginning of summer, things heat up, albeit they heated up a little bit more quickly than I anticipated this year. We're in some kind... You've seen the headlines that we have like a heat dome right now?
I've seen like the excessive heat warnings. I'm assuming that's...
I mean, those are pretty normal, but there's the reason we're having so many excessive heat warnings so early in the summer. Usually we don't get to this point until like August, but there's some kind of a weather event called a heat dome that when you read about what it is, essentially sounds like we're being cooked.
Yeah.
Like we're in a big oven or a grill. We're being grilled. That's what's happening. But as the leader of Chicken Leg Nation, I encourage all of my brothers and sisters with bird legs to take the pride that we've harnessed over the course of this month and remember it all year long. Remember, we have shirts at bowlandmedia.com/shop to commemorate Chicken Leg Pride Month. Makes the perfect gift for any friends or family you might know with chicken legs if you're an ally, like Kade, and want to participate in Chicken Leg Pride Month. We've also got motivational mental health merch like our Stack Good Days coffee mugs, baby onesies, and crew necks, as well as in therapy hats, finishing cups, and more. I'm not sure what the finishing cup has to do with mental health. It could be argued.
It's a way to relieve stress.
If you don't have somewhere to finish, it could cause you mental distress.
Yeah. That's what Grimace needs. He needs to stop
jizzing in these
milkshakes. Yeah, and get himself a finishing cup.
I mean, what is this? I feel like the longer it sits here next to me, it's taking...
I'm getting pretty close to finishing it.
You feel like you're getting pretty close to death?
I don't know.
Maybe that's what happens. Maybe it's like when you hit the last sip.
That's when
he busts in and
hits the fan. Yeah.
takes you and does what he wants with you and leaves you dead to die in a sewer or on the beach. Anyway, bowlandmedia.com/shop. And just to be clear, you cannot get a Grimace Shake on bowlandmedia.com. You'd have to go into the McDonald's for that. Yeah. And even then, they might not have it.
Yeah, we'll say their ice cream machine's broken.
Or the teens are in there going crazy.
Yeah.
What if you walked into a McDonald's and it was just filled with dead people covered in purple?
You didn't know like that was a trend going on right now.
Yeah, that'd be
like you're like excited to like try the Grimace Shake and you just go in there and you just see a bunch of dead people with just like
dead
purple
teens.
Milkshake all over them.
Oh man. What a world. Please support our sponsors by hitting the links in the description of this episode and using our dedicated codes. That's how we pay the bills here at Bowland Media. You can find the links to all of our sponsors for today's show in the description below. To check out our other shows, go to bowlandmedia.com. We obviously have Jared J-Bone, Boris Lowe's F1 show, Formula Bone, giving you all of the F1 coverage you need all season long. Go to youtube.com/@FormulaBone and follow @FormulaBone on all of the social medias. On Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, currently we are covering an Apple TV Plus show called Silo. Aw. Oh. A fucking minion just fell over in front of me. That might be a sign that Grimace is coming. Kade, you've been watching Silo with us.
I have been, yeah.
It's solid. I mean, have you watched ahead at all?
No, I'm right there with you guys.
So the finale came out.
Yeah.
And we're obviously we're operating with a delay here. So we're covering episodes 7 and 8 this upcoming week, and there are 10 episodes in the season. But I saw a bunch of generic chatter online that the finale was hype. So I'm excited.
That's good. Yeah.
To get to it.
And like I do a lot of the clips for OCC, and I have to like look up pictures and videos and all this stuff. And I haven't been spoiled on anything, surprisingly.
I have to be pretty careful too. I usually pull like random marketing images for. I mean, this is the first show where we've done a slight delay.
Yeah.
And I have to go in and like Google a character's name and find a picture of them to do some marketing on Instagram or whatever. And same. Have not had anything wrecked for me, which is very nice. I've really enjoyed that. I watched the latest episode of The Idol last night. It was fucking ridiculous.
That's the penultimate, I guess.
Yeah, it was the penultimate. I don't feel like it should qualify, but it's technically is the penultimate.
Was Mike Dean in that one?
Yeah. So
I saw a clip of him
getting out of his car with his water bong and also a blunt.
Yeah.
I commented on that to my wife. I was like, okay, first of all, Mike Dean is a massive stoner in real life. Like, I don't know if you follow him on Instagram, but
isn't he playing himself?
Yes, he's playing himself on the show, but he's also like basically, literally being himself.
Yeah,
he's just like being Mike Dean, and but still, no one, literally 0 people ever have driven around driver's seat, bong and blunt. And it's not that I don't believe nobody's ever driven around with a bong, but not both.
Yeah, why do you need both?
You don't need both. That's fucking ridiculous overkill. His character is kind of interesting though, because he just sort of like hangs out for the full episode, and like he's the synth god, so he adds a bunch of synth to her songs, and then he's just there. So like Mike Dean's like in the background of the entire episode. It's fucking insane. That show is bizarre. It's entertaining for all of the wrong reasons. Where I don't think it's possible that with one more episode remaining in the entire series, because they've already gotten canceled, that they're able to complete this story in a way that makes even remote sense. Like, there's no message at this. It's just ridiculous. It's crazy, wild. But I'm watching that as well. So we've been making fun of that a little bit every week on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles as well. And follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Kade Orris, Kadeorris. Again, throw Kade a follow, tell him happy birthday, and thank him for all he does for our shows. Follow me at WR Bolin. This episode of the Ross Bolin Podcast is presented by Bolin Media, and video of today's show was produced by none other than Kade Orris. Go to youtube.com/@the-Ross-Bolin-Podcast for full video of our show, plus funny clips. We will be back. Remember, we do 2 episodes every week, one right here that's publicly available, and then one that's exclusively on patreon.com/Ross-Bolin-Podcast. For those who are supporting our show on Patreon, get on there, patreon.com/Ross-Bolin-Podcast. That's also the place you can find all those mental health minisodes. And just as a short explanation, I got a couple DMs from people who are like, I wish these mental health minisodes were available to everybody because I feel like a lot of people could use them. And I know they could, but also RBP started off as a comedy podcast. And when I started talking about more and more serious stuff in 2020, I noticed it turned a lot of people off. So the idea was, I'll do the serious stuff still on Patreon for people who specifically want it and who want to support our show in exchange for it. And then we'll keep this show focused mostly on comedy and entertainment, because I know people, like in 2020, the problem was I wanted to talk about all this serious shit because my life was in a very serious place. But people come to this show for relief from the seriousness of life, I think, and seeking entertainment and laughter. So I wanted to make sure we continue to provide that, since it was the original sort of mission statement of this whole deal. So yeah, there's a short explanation for that. Patreon.com/Ross-Bolin-Podcast if you're looking for me talking more mental health stuff. That's it. Have a good one. Until next time, peace be with you, and also with you.